ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the AfroMattt Show. This episode 213. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is a news, entertainment, education, comedy, satire broadcast, weekly broadcast. And if you're returning, thank you again. As always, I really do thank you for your continued support. It really does mean a lot. I try to put out one of these once a week, and so far, so good. I don't think I've missed a single week. Actually, I may have missed one. That was my sister's wedding. It was a chaotic week. We were doing stuff, so guys, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, let's just get right into it. That intro was actually live footage from New York City. So let's go right back to that.
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
So that is New York City. No, of course I'm kidding. That is not New York City right now, at least. I really don't know what's going on, but I just typed in Islamic music because I wanted something to start, and this is the first thing that popped up. So I don't know if it's if this would if using this as a bit of a meme would put a fatwa on me or something, or if now the prophet wants my head. It is what it is. Shit happens. So, but I do believe that the New York City has chosen their new mayor. They've chosen the man known as, shouts out to the dude, Zohran Mamdani, something like that. We played his clip earlier when he was talking with Cuomo, and they were asking him, like, how soon are you going to go to Israel? I think I did the clip that was associated, or the episode that was associated was doing tricks on Netanyahu's dick or something like that. A good episode, but I really don't know what his whole thing is. I don't know how much of it he's actually going to be able to do. He wants to make all the buses free and stuff like that. His whole idea, and guys, this really, I was driving the other day, literally thinking about this. I'm like, why do I care who is the mayor of New York City? As far as I'm concerned, I'm so far away from New York City. If anything happens in New York City, it might as well not exist. I think about it like I don't know what the philosopher was, where if you hear if a tree falls in the woods or something, but it's like, if a Muslim is elected in New York, does it really make a sound? Does it really even matter to me? I don't think it really even does. It might as well not exist. Like in a video game, when you turn your camera away, it despawns everything that's behind you, and then you turn back around, and when you're looking at it, it exists. That's kind of how this feels to me. It's like, if you're looking at it, it exists. If you're not, it doesn't. So, I'm not really invested on who whether the president of New York is Muslim or Jewish, or, I mean, really, everything. I feel like at this point, you have a better chance of becoming a mayor if you are Jewish or Muslim than anything else. So it kind of was, maybe not Muslim. Maybe it's kind of like a fluke that this happened. But, he's trying to make New York City cheaper, which my main thing is, the whole point of living in New York is like, the punishment that you get for living in New York is that it's expensive as hell. Like, that's your punishment for being someone who lives and does stuff in New York, is you have to pay exorbitant prices. Just like if you live in California, your punishment is you have to pay an insane amount for the good weather and all that type of stuff. If you want to live in the big city, you got to pay big city prices. I really don't know what they're complaining about. It's what do you expect? It's New York City. They're like, oh, I just don't make a livable wage to live in New York City. Bitch, there are people that make $100,000 a year complaining about not making enough. You know how out of touch that sounds to someone like me? I make probably like 50 tops. So hearing people in New York City, the blight or the plight of the New Yorker complaining about making $100,000 and it not being enough, it really, I mean, it doesn't, I can't compute that, because in my head, you're making $100,000, you are now rich. You are rich. Oh, but my apartment, you don't understand. My apartment cost $3,000. Yes, that's your fault. You live in New York. Do you see everything's kind of coming back to you live in New York? That is your punishment. Your punishment is $3,000. You're lucky, and you have to like get home safely. There's nothing about living in New York that sounds awesome to me. Really, maybe the food. Maybe the food is it. That's it. And the food is like a shitload of money too. So it's like, it's a great place to visit. Check it out. Stay at a cool Airbnb or something. Drive into the city. Ride the subway. It's kind of an adventure. But doing that every day, like probably like 3 hours of your day is walking, commuting, and driving, or like taking a subway with like public transportation with sweaty, gross, homeless individuals. That is your punishment, and it's a self like given punishment. So people asking for like redemption from something that they're enforcing on themselves, people living in New York City, I feel like somehow have like Stockholm syndrome. They're complaining about the city that they live in, but they can move anytime. They could easily, for $3,000 a month, buy a $400,000 home anywhere they want. Go to Zillow, type in 350 to 400,000, just scan anywhere. All those houses, easily 3,000 doable. Find something. You can have your own house. You could buy a small 3-bed, 2-bath with like 5 acres, or live in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in a high-rise in New York City. These people are deranged, and they do it to themselves, and then they complain. And then they get a mayor who says, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep his promises, but it is what it is. So, yeah. So, shouts out to my boy Zoran, Gohan. I don't know what his name is, but I did finish a book, guys. My book pace has been really slow, but I finished this, which is the second book in C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy. As always, if you guys don't want the book review segment, just skip ahead like 10 minutes maybe. It's not that long, so skip ahead to minute 19 if you want to skip the Paralandra book review. This is the second book in the series. The first one I didn't like, and this one was a lot better. I'm going to say if the first one I gave a 6, this one's like a 7.5. It really did step it up. This one was sort of a retelling. So on the first one, he goes to Mars, and Mars is like at the end of its lifespan, I believe. Oh no, it's at the very, very beginning of its lifespan, but it's sort of the evolution. It's talking like there's like these ape creatures there, and he's like helping them. This one is at the beginning of its life, but it follows the dude who just lands there. His name's Ransom. He lands on Venus this time. He gets sent to Venus by God. Essentially, he gets sent to Venus by God. And while on Venus, he meets this woman. And there's only 2 people on this entire planet. It's the woman, also known as the Queen, and then another one known as the King. And this is sort of in somewhere and everything's floating. All the islands are like giant inflatable, kind of like they're just all floating on the waves, and Venus is all just water. It's kind of a cool idea. There's like sea creatures and stuff, but the queen has been separated from the king, and after some talking, they find that there's this one spot on the world that's called the fixed island, and it's the only thing that's not floating, and they have been forbidden from the queen and the king have been forbade from sleeping on the fixed land, and that's the one thing that they've been not allowed to do by it's a kind of a verdict of God. So it's obviously, I mean, if you can't tell, this is sort of a retelling of the Adam and Eve story. So our homeboy Ransom is talking to the girl and telling her all of the things, explaining humanity, stuff like that. And then crash landing on the island is this guy named Weston, who's the scientist from the first book. And he has let a demonic entity into himself as a vessel to, guys, this book is, I mean, literally psychedelic. So, and then it is a classic story of good versus evil. For like months, Weston, as the devil as Weston, is talking to the queen about why she should sleep on the island. And essentially he's the serpent, Satan. And then our hero, Ransom, is trying to stop him from like convincing her to go to the island and sleep there. And after a long time, they have a fight, and he follows him to an island, and then they get beat up, and then he goes into like the center of the world. I mean, it's a huge kind of story, but then he pops up in the world, and then at the end, spoiler alert, the gang, the king and queen, don't sleep on the island, and they are gifted with a brand new land where everything is pure, as if Adam and Eve had never eaten the apple, never disobeyed, whatever. It's a super cool book, and let me see if I can just read. Sometimes I highlight stuff, and I forget why I highlight it, and reading back will give you a little bit of. He's called the Unman. The demon is called the Unman, by the way. So let's see. I feel like I had a good one picked out. Let's flip to a random one. Okay, speaking through the lips of the Unman, then Weston was not now a man at all. The forces which had begun perhaps years ago to eat away at his humanity had now completed their work. That's about the demon that took a hold of Weston. And the interesting thing about Weston is he's a scientist, and he represents scientific belief, and the belief that humanity can trump everything, and science can somehow proliferate the human race beyond everything. And it's like anti-spirituality is Weston, and Ransom, our main character, represents spirituality. He's the most in tune with the language and in tune with the spirits of the world, stuff like that. So it is interesting that they chose a scientist for that. But let's see. Let's flip to somewhere near the end, because once stuff starts getting crazy. Okay, here it is. They don't say it in many words, of course, but what they're getting to even before they die nowadays is that all men get to when they're dead, the knowledge that reality is neither rational nor consistent nor anything else. In a sense, you might say it isn't there, real and unreal, true and false. They're all only on the surface. They give away the moment you press them. Yeah. It's a cool book. It plays with a lot of interesting themes, and you really do have to read it. It's kind of hard to even explain. I mean, a lot of the conversation, a lot of like the big bulk of the book is the conversations between um, the unman, and Ransom and the Queen is where a lot of the bulk takes place. The beauty of Perilandra, the innocence of the lady, the suffering of saints, and the kindly affections of man were all only appearance to the outward show. What he had called the worlds were but then skins of the worlds, a quarter of a mile beneath the surface, and thence, though thousands of miles of dark and silence and infernal fire in the very heart of each, reality lived, the meaningless, the unmade, the omnipotent idiocy to which all spirits were irrelevant, and before all which all efforts were vain. Talk about the world. He's a pretty good writer. Indeed, it was a second infancy in which he was breastfed of the planet Venus herself, and weaned till he moved from that place. 3 impressions of this long Sabbath remain. One is the endless sound of rejoicing water. Another is the delicious life that he sucked from the clusters, which almost seemed to bow themselves unasked to his unreaching hand. And third is the song. So he was and after he kills the unman, which represents science and the devil and stuff like that, he falls into the earth, falls into Venus technically, and then is, after fighting through essentially hell, what looks like hell, he climbs out dark and broken after killing the unman. He is rebirthed into the new Venus, which is on solid ground. And there is a holy communion of the queen, the king, and the spirit known as Melandra or whatever. And there they tell that the king and the queen never fell to temptation, and now they are in control of the world and are bestowed with the knowledge and can grow old with their children. Stuff like that. I mean, it is a cool book. I'm excited for the third one. It's kind of hard to even describe this book without just saying, just go check it out. I give this book a 8.5, probably 8.5 out of 10. It's actually a pretty good book. I enjoyed it. There's lots of like just trippy shit and cool things to like think about. The dialogue between the two guys is pretty cool. Yeah. It's C.S. Lewis, so it's obviously religious, and I'm not a religious individual, but I think I'm kind of spiritual, where I believe that there's maybe something greater than just humans out there. So it is it's a pleasant read if you're into that. And you can really tell that C.S. Lewis put a lot of himself into it, which I appreciate. Let's get into the news. So we have, we already talked about something Mambani, something like that. So we'll skip that. Let's go into this bald J.D. Vance meme. Tourist found with J.D. Vance meme on phone. 20-year-old Mads Mikkelsen tells Norwegian newspaper that he was pulled aside by customs official at Newark Airport. An agent searched his phone and found a photo of a wooden pipe he had made, and 2, a meme of J.D. Vance where he had a giant bald baby head. So if you've ever seen this meme of bald J.D. Vance, which is, I mean, just so the funny thing is, it does look like him. So he said after they found this picture of J.D. Vance's bald baby head, he was detained and refused entry into the U.S. So owning a picture of JD Vance with edited to where his head is bald and his face is wide like a baby and kind of shiny is grounds for being barred entry to America. I just think it's so funny that someone was browsing through someone's phone, a Norwegian's phone, saw this picture of little baby JD, and that crossed the line. That crossed the line. Apparently, it's stated officially somewhere you're not allowed to mock the leadership in the U.S., at least the president, a bit like authoritarian countries where you can be thrown in jail for it, a bit problematic for this kind of free speech. Wait, can you actually be detained for memes about the president? Because I have a lot of memes about the president. I have lots of memes about a lot of presidents. Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, his picture edited to look like Osama bin Laden. Michelle Obama obviously with a bulge. That's a good meme. I'm trying to think what Trump memes I have. I think there's one where instead of fight, 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 he, I don't know, something, there's some other words. But I don't think you should be able to get put in jail for memes. They're doing that in Germany. They did that. We covered that one a while back where a kid posted a picture of one of those electrical converter spots and posted the caption of immigrant playground, which unfortunately you cannot do in Germany because they came to his house and they said, was you the one who posted that meme? And took him pretty quickly, I think, to detention, juvenile detention or something. But bald JD is just so good. Here's another news thing. We don't really have much, crazy breaking news. Oh, I guess we do. There was something about... So I guess they did stop the war, so maybe we should cover that, because I think that they stopped the war. Here's Trump talking about... So this was Trump, like, right before they were supposed to stop the war. Right in front of...
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
I think that it's kind of unprecedented for a president to drop the F-bomb on national television, but he's right. The countries have been fighting so long, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Isn't this like a 3,000-year battle between the Jews and the Muslims? Aren't they? This is like a 3,000-year blood feud. This goes deeper than like Bloods vs. Crips. This is like if Bloods vs. Crips both had religious figures. Like imagine that. Imagine how bad things would get if they both had, if like Tupac and Biggie were like worshipped figures and performed like miracles, something like that. That is, I think that's an analogy. I don't really know if Tupac was a Blood or a Crip or what, but I think Snoop Dogg's a Crip. I think he crip walks. I assume that makes him a crip. I think. Ice Cube I think Ice Cube is a crip, but I don't really know who's a blood. I don't really know what that means, but so yeah, I mean it's imagine Bloods versus Crips for 3,000 years, a holy gang war. And I can understand where Trump is justifiably pissed off because he has to babysit two countries that are in a blood feud for thousands. He spawned in on a blood feud that's been 1,000 years coming. 3,000 years. I think the Holy Land was promised them 3,000 years ago. So it's tough. Trump is in a tough situation. Also, he's in a tough situation because the Mossad probably has a lot of information that he wishes they didn't on him. So he's in a doubly tough situation where it's his hands are tied. I mean, I feel like his hands are tied in this spot, so he can't really even do much. But an interesting thing is, well, I think the war is over. Correct me at the chat if I'm wrong, but I think the war was over. Donald Trump tweeted something like, this will be known as the 12-year war or the 12-day war, something like that. He wanted to like name it. When you name it, it like becomes the thing. So I guess he was trying to get ahead of World War III by naming it the 12-day war. People are saying that he was going to get the Nobel Peace Prize for stopping this, but if you guys saw Top Gun actually I think was a little bit of programming for this news program. Actually talks about the story of Top Gun, the new Top Gun movie with Tom Cruise, where they have to run two planes, and the first plane is the one that drops the bunker buster, and then the second plane that comes in right behind him is the one that drops the bomb inside of the hole that the bunker buster dropped. So it is always interesting when a movie comes out with like an eerily close system, or like they call it predictive programming, but it's like dropping subtle hints that something's about to happen, like how there was a million movies about buildings being blown up right before 9/11. There was Fight Club, Alien Annihilation. There was, I think that there's a list of like 1,000, like almost every movie had like the Twin Towers being blown up right before the planes blew up. Not saying that they were planning on doing it, but it's like it's in the zeitgeist. Or maybe not in the zeitgeist, it's in the collective consciousness or something, and it's like leaking out.
So what you end up doing is, if you saw the movie, the latest Top Gun movie, eerily enough, this is that plot kind of coming to fruition in real life. It's not just one bomb, it'll be a bomb after a bomb to get through that penetration.
So that's what is that, Fox News? Yeah, that's Fox News openly comparing this situation to Top Gun, which is interesting. I love this little frog. This frog is actually how I figured out this is what's happening.
Reporting tonight that the U.S. has...
This is a little radio with a talking frog.
We are reporting tonight that the U.S. has entered the war with Iran. The U.S. has attacked 3 key nuclear sites in Iran. I want to bring in our White House correspondent to speak to the significance of this. NPR's Deepa Shivaram is covering this. We just heard from the president. He was addressing the nation moments ago from the White House.
And not to weave back to the beginning, but the war ended pretty quickly, but I was completely unaware really that it was happening, and I was unaware that it ended. So once again, it's like if a tree falls in the woods, if World War III starts in the Middle East and I'm not there, does it really even start? If I don't care, does it really even start? Probably. There are people that die, but do they? Do they really? Is it a real war? That's something I think about a lot. Is it a real war? Or are the flashes and the bombs all just, you know, I don't want to say like parlor tricks, but like just show like smoke and mirrors for like the real war that's maybe happening on the background. I'm talking like that's like religious blood feud type. The conversations that are happening behind the scenes are the real war, and all the smoke and the bombs and stuff, they're just kind of fake. I gotta move this cat. He's attacking my feet. Okay. What were we talking about? Yeah, the Iran and Israel. Yeah, it's not really I don't know how real any of it is, but Donald Trump on Monday said that the 12-day war between Israel and Iran was set to end in a ceasefire, holding out the expected deal as validation for strategic gambling of ordering U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites. It's been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. We know how good Israel is at ceasefires, by the way. We know that's their strong suit, is ceasefire. As of now, there is no agreement on the ceasefire or cessation of military operations. Aragachi posted on X, however, provided that the Israel regime stops its illegal aggression against the Iranian people no later than 4 a.m. Tehran time. We have no intention of continuing our response afterwards. This is really like playground, sand pit type stuff. And I don't mean sand pit in like any sort of way beyond the analogy that they're kids at a playground. There was an interesting video that went viral of this Asian guy talking about, and this video was posted, mind you, a full year ago, but he's predicting everything that's happening in the world right now. His video is called Predictive History, but this is the Iran trap he's talking about. So let's listen to a little bit. We're not going to play a lot, but
do something as stupid as trap 100,000 American soldiers in Iran. All right? So we'll first do historical analysis, define historical analogs, example.
Okay.
As Jack says, you can't resupply them. Why? Why can't you actually resupply your army? Why not?
So a lot of this is pretty prevalent to today, or I guess relevant to today.
But there's a bigger problem than the supply lines. What is it? What do you need to create bullets and ammunition? America has no manufacturing capacity because America moved all its manufacturing capacity to China. Okay? Remember this. So for every one ship that America can build, China can build 232 ships. That's what the Pentagon says. Okay, do you understand? So if this war were to happen, there's absolutely no way America can win this war. It's just completely trapped inside Iran.
So this is what he's calling the Iran trap, where because we've cucked ourselves by shipping out all of our jobs and all of our manufacturing, that we've actually stopped ourselves from being able to win any sort of war. And Israel knows this, and now we're going to get into the game theory. Now, game theory is interesting because game theory is the idea that in a game, which a war is a game, you can look at it, in traditional game theory, you can make a box of 4 different things and have an outcome for each person. And then you can calculate the best outcome for each person to choose. I think it originally came from an experiment with, 2 prisoners or something. It's like prisoners game or something like that. But you give Well, there's also there's a game show that's based off of this game theory, but it's where you can either choose to at the end of the game show, you can either choose to steal the money, and if you choose to steal the money and they choose to steal the money, no one gets any money. You can choose to split the money, and if you choose to split the money, they choose to split the money, you both split. But if you choose split and they choose steal, they take it all. So you can actually make a quadrant. You can take a thing and do each choice and find out which one is the most beneficial for both to choose. And if both parties are playing the best that they can play, both would choose steal. Right? It is not beneficial for them to split, because steal has more negative outcomes, split has more negative outcomes than steal. So steal is good because you're risking that they also choose steal. In that case, no one gets money. But if you pick steal and in any other case they don't pick steal, you get all the money. So the risk versus reward. But you can actually run those for war games. So that's what this next clip is going to be about. And this is from the same guy. I watched this so that you guys don't have to.
This semester. And the idea is that society, what happens in the real world, is a game among human beings. Okay? So and each person is trying to play this game as to optimize the outcome for that person. Okay? So the question then is, why would the United States send 100,000 troops into Iran? So let's look at the individual motivations of the individual players, okay? So you have the United States. What does the United States want to do?
US
what does it want to do?
Overthrow Iran's government.
By doing what? And accomplishing what? It wants to topple the regime in Tehran, right?
Change, yep.
You can only do that through a ground invasion, okay?
Yep.
So the United States is trying to topple Iran. But then you also have other actors, okay?
So this is the second player in the game.
Iran. What does Iran want to do?
Iran? This one's good.
What does Iran want to do?
Guys, play at home. Play at home. What do you think Iran, in the game, what's the best case scenario for Iran? I mean, to win the war or whatever. In the war, what's the best case scenario? The truth may
basically
surprise
the
you.
Revolutionary Guard Corps. What do they want to do? See? They want to kill as many Americans as possible, okay? You understand? They want to force an American land invasion.
They want to
Okay?
kill
So
as
Iran
many
wants
Americans as
to
possible.
force a U.S. invasion, knowing that
US
if the U.S. invades, it has to lose the war. Okay, it will lose the war because the Revolutionary Guard can just send suicide bombers against the United States. Okay. Now let's look at Israel.
Israel, our favorite third party. Guys, and this is why they're so sneaky. Listen to this. This is our favorite third party coming in on the end.
We know that the United States wants to topple Iran. We know that Iran wants to force a U.S. invasion to defeat the Americans, to humiliate the Americans.
This is really good.
And exact revenge for what happened in the past, okay? What does Israel want to do? What is Israel's optimal
Besides, never mind.
outcome? You guys know? If you're Israel, what do you want to happen?
So, I'm not going to say.
Okay, so you want Iran defeated, okay? And then what do you want to happen? You want Iran defeated, you want the proxies defeated, and then what do you want to happen? Do you want the United States to stay in the Middle East?
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. He's asking his class questions.
The war. I mean, Iran is destroyed as a country. The United States is destroyed as a military presence in the Middle East. What would happen? Israel becomes the top dog in the Middle East. Do you understand?
That's their end goal.
Israel can now control the entire Middle East. So the optimal outcome for Israel is Iran and the United States are both destroyed. Okay? Do you understand? How about Saudi Arabia? What is their optimal outcome?
Saudi Arabia.
Exactly the same as Israel. Exactly. Okay, you understand?
Same as Israel.
Okay. Which will
So
lead.
we have this is the classic Fortnite dilemma. So if you ever played a game of Fortnite and you see two teams fighting in the distance, that's your cue to sit back, just scope in, scout out the fight, and then once you see one side gets hit, then you rush in, kill both sides, and take all the loot. And that is, we call that being third-partied. That's called being third-partied. But that is the Israel strat. Israel, Saudi Arabia are on two separate mountains, both trying to wait out the war of U.S. and Iran. That's why Israel wants America to enter the war with Iran, because they know we can't win and they want to clean up. They want the third party. It is interesting to think about geopolitics like Fortnite, because there's loot, there's good loot, it's guns, it's battle, it's victory royale. But Israel just wants the loot. They want the loot. It's a hot drop. The Middle East is a hot drop. The thing about Saudi Arabia is they're full of oil. So I think that they're an easier bomb target because you just bomb it and then everything I think catches on fire. Whereas Iran is a harder bomb target. So that's why I guess you have to send in military troops. I don't know. But it was interesting seeing that all this was posted a full year ago. So this guy knew, this Asian man knew ahead of time. And he might be the final third party, which is the Chinese. The Chinese, now let me tell you about the Chinese. The Chinese aren't even watching the third party. The Chinese have made the game. So that might be the situation that we're in, is they're just waiting till everyone kills themselves and they're bush camping. They're not even going to go for kills. They're just bush camping, which in Fortnite is where you find the central circle where the storm ends and you just camp in a bush until you win the game. So they might be sky basing. China might be sky basing, which in Fortnite, guys, I don't know why everything got explain it in Fortnite terms. Sky basing is when you build up to the skybox and then you just hide up there because none of the opponents think to look into the sky. That seriously, guys, that seriously might be what's going on here. The U.S. and Iran are 1v1ing. Israel and Saudi Arabia are waiting for the third party, and China is skyboxed and already has won. Already knows that they're going to win the game. They're full of meds. They got med kits. They've got an inventory full of med kits. They have their full squad, not worried about anything. And they're actually watching all four of those countries from above and laughing and raffing. So, you know, that's the political geopolitical situation that we have explained in Fortnite terms. Let's see. What's going on with this? Oh, this is interesting. This is part of TikTok time. We'll save this for later. This is this little kid, an Arizona 5th grader.
Grade girls at recess turned into a criminal investigation. According to a newly obtained police report, the girls are accused of plotting to kill their classmate at Legacy Traditional School in West Surprise by luring him into an outside bathroom and stabbing him in the stomach. Quote, "Just end him," is what they allegedly agreed upon while sitting at a lunch table on October 1st, 2024. Each of the girls had a role in the plan, which included wearing gloves to hide fingerprints, forging a suicide note, and having lookouts. The plan didn't pan out because another classmate overheard their conversation and told her parent and the school resource officer. The arresting officer notes 3 of the girls and their families appeared remorseful and apologized.
Yeah, these kids have a future in the CIA. That's why they're not releasing their names, because these kids have all become... Here's the situation, and I know that this is really sad. Thankfully, no one died. They stopped the kids before they got their plot off. But rest assured, The CIA met with all these parents and said, hey, your kid's in pretty deep shit. We don't want them. I know you don't want them going to juvie. What we're going to do is we're going to get them. We're going to bring them into our program, wipe their slate clean, and start them as CIA recruits. Now, do you agree with that? I'm sure you want to agree with that, right? And then they're like, well, I guess we have. Well, Jimmy, we don't have any other choice, do we? Our daughter's going to go to prison. You got to send him to the CIA. And then the dad's like scratching his head like, oh, fuck, Susan, why do you make me do this shit? And then I truly think that these three have a future in the CIA. They were plotting to kill a child guys, mind you, this is the 5th grade. They were plotting to kill a child and make it look like a suicide. This is textbook CIA activity.
The girls and their families appeared remorseful and apologized, but one girl smiled, laughed, and made excuses.
Yep, that's CIA, but this, and I don't mean to be morbid, but this is CIA's wet dream.
In 5th grade, you're starting to really put a lot of emphasis and care about what your peers think about you.
Child and adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Mark Anderson tells me this time in a child's life can be difficult as they're susceptible to challenges of peer pressure and they still don't fully know right from wrong.
Pay attention to potential warning signs.
Pay attention to warning signs that your children might be MK Ultra victims. I saw this and seriously, my first initial reaction was these kids are going to join the CIA. This is what they're looking for. All right, let's go on to let's cap this off with some TikTok time. Oh, I did actually the one more news part. 16 billion, and that's B with a B, password data breach hits Apple, Google, Facebook, and more. A new massive $16 billion data breach that exposed login credentials from Apple, Google, Facebook has made record as one of the largest data breaches in all of history. The records show that 30 databases have been stolen, with each containing 3.5 billion passwords. The recent data breach contains a massive amount of information that can affect billions of online activity. What's exposed? Yeah, I don't really care, honestly. This passed in like 2 seconds. I assume everyone has my information anyways. So it's like, what? You want to post a YouTube video on my account? It is what it is. I'll kill myself. You guys think I won't? You guys think I won't? I'm hanging by a thread right now. All right, let's go into TikTok time. Who's this? Let's go to this lady. This lady's classic. I love this. An interview with a lady. Trump State Department. This is Trump's squad, by the way.
Pride of being able to be here and do work that facilitates making things better for people. And in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel.
Whoa. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Guys, if you have a dual citizenship, you shouldn't be allowed to hold office in America. I truly believe that.
Facilitates making things better for people. And in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel.
Next to Israel. God damn, dude. God damn. That Netanyahu dick stretches across the world. It affects a lot of people, and a lot of people suck it frequently and ride it and do tricks on it. It is what it is. Let's move on to this. This is a heartwarming TikTok. New Neuralink update lets people play Mario Kart.
And here we actually have Nolan playing Mario Kart. Now, what's special about this particular clip is Nolan is not the only cyborg playing Mario Kart in this clip.
Cyborg.
We actually have a whole community of users, as mentioned earlier, and this is...
So these are all people that have, I guess, what is it called, paraplegic or something like that, where they can't they can't use their arms or legs or anything like that. So they're playing Mario Kart with their mind. So Neuralink has entered their brains and put a chip in it. So these people have been chipped.
Literally 5 of our first users of Neuralink playing Mario Kart together over call.
Let's hear it for the end of humanity.
Now,
And it's awesome. I mean, I will say it is awesome that people that don't have access to their limbs anymore still can play video games, but it is the end of humanity as we know it.
yeah. Mario Kart it's cool. You know, you're using one joystick and then you're clicking like a couple buttons to throw items. What would be even cooler is what if you could control 2 joysticks at once simultaneously with your mind? What I'm about to show you, and I think this is for the first time someone playing a first-person shooter game with a brain-computer interface. This is Alex and RJ playing Call of Duty, controlling one joystick to move and then the other joystick to, like, point your gun and then shooting people as a button. Here's Alex shooting another person.
Right. Oh, dear God.
Oh, that was bad.
I know I do, and I want him to freaking shoot. He won't, but I do want him to shoot.
RJ, Alex got you.
I know, dude. Shot me in the face.
Now that we have a bit of a sense of what the BCI can do, a very important question to answer is, how does this impact the day-to-day lives of the people that use it every day?
We want people that don't have access to their limbs to just play video games. That's the only thing left for them. So that's what we got for them, is a chip in their head. Kind of makes me wonder how Stephen Hawking was doing all that shit before brain chips. Like, how was you're telling me Stephen Hawking wrote like essays and books and stuff while fully like, I am the president. I am Stephen Hawking. I can't do the robot voice. I am Stephen Hawking. I can't really do it. It's kind of like a robot, but like breathless. It's like a breathless robot. I am Stephen Hawking. Can't really figure it out. Also, you know, anytime that you start off the voice that you're doing with the person's name, you know it's gonna be bad. Hello, Kermit the Frog here. That's the only one that you can start with the name and finish it off. Everything else, if it starts with the person's name, it's gonna be a bad impression. Let's continue on with this.
So I got little pieces of Gaza. You know, this is the rubble that was, this is hand selected and bottled up by its residents, and all proceeds go to rebuild and to preserve the history of Gaza. They have this little keychain that you can get at.
So guys, link in bio below. We're selling pieces of Gaza. Rubble from Gaza is a new level of consumerism I didn't even know we could reach. It didn't even cross my mind to sell the rubble, and this is on me because I should have called this, and I apologize, but selling the rubble from a place being bombed currently, I should have called that, and it's 100% just gravel from Home Depot, but someone is making bank off of that. Some drop shipper is selling so much gravel from Home Depot right now. All the proceeds go to, go to some guy's Porsche 911. Emphasis on the 911. Here's this guy interviewing Peter Thiel. The guy's This is what I'm talking about. This is bad news. Peter Thiel is bad news.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right?
Peter Thiel?
You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
I don't know.
I would.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
Should
in this.
You want the human race to endure. I think that if you ask anyone who has less than $1 billion that question, you get a pretty quick answer. $1 billion plus, that question takes a little bit longer to answer. You want the human race to endure. He hesitated because he's like, which human race? He's like, which human race do you want to endure? Rich people? Because yes, we should endure. The poors? No. Absolutely not. We don't want them hampering and tampering with our DNA and our superiority. These people genuinely think because they have more money, they are better people. Guys, once you understand this, it makes it way easier to operate. These people think because they have more money, they are genuinely better people. And maybe not all of them, but it's somewhere in their head. They think that they justify, this is how the human brain works. They justify them having more money with them working harder and being a better worker, smarter person, better human than you because they have more money. That's, I mean, just throwing that out there. That's what you need to, that's how these people think. That's, I mean, it's just how it is. That's Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. That's how all these people operate on this frequency of you are worth less. Literally worth less than them. Quite literally worth less than them. This is, I mean, I assume somewhere in like maybe Atlanta or something. Shit's popping off though. And it's not for the 4th of July. These aren't fireworks.
Straight, I'm doing it. It's like Call of Duty in this bitch. Boy, I swear to God, bro. On my soul, I'm killing Kel on my mama. I'm not coming outside. No more. Oh, shit. These niggas tripping.
So that's a lot of guns. Oh, you can hear him pinging off. You know if you hear a ping, that's pretty scary.
Damn. I should have stayed my bitch ass in the house, huh? Fuck, I should have stayed on the game. Bro.
Should have stayed on the game. Should have got it off of Warzone. I couldn't say it better myself.
I should have stayed my bitch ass in the house, huh? Fuck, I should have stayed on the game. Bro. I just got off of Warzone. Bitch, I ain't trying to come outside to another one. Man, no, son, I just know you lying. Fuck, hey, who on this live? He said he who on this live? Hey, go follow me on the gram.
Go follow me on the gram. Hey, everyone good? Should have stayed y'all my bitch ass inside. Yes. Yes. All right, we'll finish it off with this last one.
I got one message for you haters out there talking mess about me.
This guy's doing dino noises. Well, he's a big dinosaur fan.
Raptor attack, blue. See him wearing blue.
So that one was actually a pretty good T-Rex. That sounded straight from the I'm going to play this back for you, but this sounded straight from the Jurassic Park.
T-Rex
Not
roar.
bad. He's eating his haters. He's eating his haters right now.
Right.
Pretty good. Not
Claw
bad.
your face. Viscerate you. Yeah. Raptor claw. Meat hooks.
So I'm not making fun of this guy because I know that he's on the spectrum and he loves dinos. If you love dinos and you're 50 years old, you're definitely on the spectrum. So I'm not trying to point any hate at him. I actually love that video and it's wholesome and it's sweet and I love it. I just wanted to point out how awesome that guy was.
There's no new shit.
Dino roar, go! All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with a friend. If you didn't, just tell me down below why. This is Pink Pantheress and Sam Gilatry playing this out. Goodbye.
Always notice something about you, so similar to me. It scares me, I'm impatient, I can't wait to see what it is that brought you to be identical to me. It's frightening, so why are we together? Knowing we sometimes do disagree, I like it. It's a sign you don't think like me, that's fine. But sometimes feel some way when you choose to leave, and sometimes I just can't stand to be with you. That's why what I need is all along. I had a picture in my mind, say please don't try and call my bluff. I don't think I can try to fight it, so why are we together? I need us all along. I had a picture in my mind, say please don't try and call my bluff.
We put both of our hearts on the line. Take shots and darling, I'll take mine. That burst inside the deepest dive. I've been waiting for you my whole life.